You know, lately I've been thinking about the words health and wealth, especially since COVID-19. Just how the two are so intricately linked by virtue of letter placements, pronunciation, how they powerfully shape lives, and of course, how these two inactive words actively push the ink forward to create whatever narrative they choose. Your greatest wealth could very well be your health. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. We want to help you create that link between your health and wealth. So much so that today's show is simmering to the sensations of a healthy lifestyle. From what you drink to what you eat. We'll have a fulsome talk right after the news.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, July 8. August Town has been declared as the fourth zone of special operation. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during a digital press briefing Wednesday morning. Mr. Holness says there's an urgent need for intervention as gangs in the area have contributed to high levels of crime over the years.
The community of August Town has been assessed as a significant contributor to the level of crime in the St. Andrews Central Police Division, and for some time now has been designated a hotspot within this police area.
Since the start of the year, 7 residents of the community have been murdered, and a further 14 people have been shot and injured. All of the murders and shootings in Augusttown have been attributed to gangs.
Government has spent $3.8 billion of the $6 billion budgeted for COVID-19 containment efforts. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update Tuesday as he made his contribution to the sectorial debate in Parliament. Of the $3.8 billion spent since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 on March 10, Dr. Tufton says $1.7 billion has been spent on acquiring test kits. $775 million has been spent in financial support for health authorities. Over $89 million has been disbursed to upgrade hospital infrastructure, including the purchase of 63 additional intensive care and high dependency units. More than $500 million has been used to procure prescription drugs to treat the symptoms of persons with COVID-19. Funds were also expended to retrofit quarantine facilities and to isolate and care for suspected and confirmed cases of COVID-19.
I am comfortable that we have been getting value for money, as evidenced by the slowing of the disease, which has resulted in a less than expected number of cases and hospitalizations here on the island. In fact, Mr. Speaker, Jamaica has so far kept the number of cases below the health system capacity to respond.
According to Minister Tufton, up to July 6, of the 737 confirmed cases of COVID-19, only 14 or 1.9% were critically ill and 11 or 1.5% moderately ill. Up to July 6, Jamaica's recovery rate stood at 80.2%, while hospitalization and reproductive rates were less than 1%. After nearly 4 months since COVID-19 reached our shores, Dr. Tufton says Jamaica's mortality rate of 1.4% was relatively low compared to the international rate of between 3 and 4%. In the meantime, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will launch a $350 million tender to introduce its health information systems. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the tender will be issued in the next 2 months. This, he says, will see to the retrofitting of 110 health centers with technology to provide high-speed internet capacity as well as a modern ICT infrastructure to include laptops and tablets. The health information system will also utilize the World Health Organization's Go Data platform for the collection and analysis of surveillance data for the detection and management of diseases.
This investment will enhance more efficient information exchange between healthcare providers and patients, thus reducing the waiting time because of more efficient transaction management in order to administer care to our patients.
The $350 million project is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. Still in Parliament Tuesday, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, announced that gaming lounges were to be opened today.
The decision comes following the development and publication of COVID-19 reopening and operating protocols by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission in consultation with the gaming lounge operators. The protocols have been reviewed by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and received no objection from the public health authorities.
Dr. Clark pointed out that gaming lounges, which contributed significantly to economic activity and employment, represented the last segment of Jamaica's gambling industry to reopen. For the financial year ending March 2020, gaming lounges generated $490 million of direct revenue for the government. In other news, government will distribute 65,000 tablet computers to teachers and students in the 2020-2021 financial year. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Fable Williams made the disclosure Tuesday as she handed over 32 tablet computers to educators at the Hope Valley Experimental School.
eLearning Jamaica will complete the distribution of 25,000 tablets under the Tablets for Teachers program, as well as the 40,000 tablets under the Tablets in Infant and Primary Schools program during this financial year.
Minister Williams says the government is committed to providing access to the internet and technological tools that will enhance learning at every level.
In this digital age, all our teachers and students must be able to access lessons and material remotely so that no one is disenfranchised or left behind.
And finally, Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the government is looking to fully acquire the Tranquility Bay property in St. Elizabeth. With the acquisition, Dr. Chang says the facility will be transformed into an operational training campus for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. Dr. Chang made the announcement as he toured a section of the facility which was recently refurbished to accommodate new JCF recruits.
We are currently leasing. We are looking forward to acquiring it, so that we can put in a full operation down here. We are committed to putting the resources in the police force in a structured manner. The police force was here once, they spent 3 years, but we intend to be here long term.
The $139 million upgrade includes construction of classrooms, dormitories, as well as the procurement of furniture and equipment. Minister Chang says the Tranquility Bay facility will be able to accommodate up to 225 recruits per batch and will have the necessary equipment and resources to ensure quality police training. It will also be an addition to the National Police College of Jamaica in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
If there's anything that we've learned from this pandemic, is that having a consistently healthy diet is important in the fight for life. Sure, we've heard these things before, but repetition is indeed the mother of learning. Let's first talk about how seafood improves our health.
We all love our protein: chicken, beef, pork. But how often do we eat fish? Is it only at Easter time or when you're at the beach? Incorporating more fish into your diet can be very beneficial to your health. Compared to red meats and poultry, fish has far less calories and cholesterol.
It's the saturated fats and the trans fats that our bodies use to make cholesterol. And fish and seafood have very little saturated fat and trans fat. So in truth and in fact, that makes it a very healthy source of protein.
Fish also has iron, which is important for good reasoning and memory, iodine, which can prevent mental problems in children, and selenium, vitamins, and carotenoids, which are antioxidants. Who knew that we could get so many nutrients from fish? And that's not all. Incorporating fish into our diet can even reduce the chances of developing certain diseases.
Studies have in fact shown that people who have a higher intake of fish compared to other meat sources have less heart disease, they suffer from fewer mood disorders, and they have less cognitive decline with age, so less dementia.
This is due to omega-3 fatty acids, a nutrient that is only found in a few other food sources, such as walnuts and flax seeds. But oily fish, such as sardines, tuna, mackerel, salmon, and trout, are excellent sources of omega-3s and are readily available at your convenience in supermarkets. So we want to add fish into our diet. In what ways can we do this?
So escovitch fish is one of our favorites. Now the onions and the carrots and the vinegar and the pimento, that's all fine. But we don't want to do a lot of deep frying. Deep frying adds calories. Nothing like a nice steamed fish, a nice roast fish. And when you roast your fish, you can stuff it with wonderful vegetables like callaloo and so on. So we have to find other ways. Many of us have broilers as a part of our stove and we've never utilized it. We don't know how it's used. And that gives us, I think, the closest taste to fried without adding a lot of oil.
So we've got different styles of cooking the fish, but what about flavor? Jamaicans love adding salt, but fish is already salty. Wouldn't that be too much sodium?
If we utilize other things like lime and lemon juice and or fresh seasonings or scotch bonnet pepper or onions or scallion, we can make our fish flavorful without adding a lot of extra sodium.
That sounds really tasty, but watch out for bones. Make sure to debone fish before giving your children. Even if the fish is bought deboned, check for fine bones with your fingers. If you're not careful, you could end up with a medical emergency. The recommended serving size per week is only 8 to 9 ounces of fish, or 2 to 3 servings per week. With an array of health benefits and a variety of ways to cook it, don't miss out on this lifestyle choice. Make a positive impact on your health by adding more fish to your diet.
So, the digestion process isn't quite over. We're about to consume some water. But here's the thing. You can do your part in making your water safe enough to consume. If you're not sure how exactly to do this, here's a little help.
The human body cannot function without water. While you may live for up to 3 weeks without food, you cannot go more than a week without water. From breaking down the food we eat so the body can use it, to helping us heal when we get sick, water is needed for almost every process that takes place in the body. And although 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, drinking it directly from seas, rivers, wells or aqueducts may make you sick. Untreated water contains bacteria and other germs, as well as chemicals that may be dangerous to the body. So in order to get the water from here to here safely, it has to be treated. Water treatment processes differ depending on the source. If the water is coming from a river, for example, here at the Negro River in St. Thomas, it usually goes through an extensive treatment process before reaching the pipe.
Here is where we do the first type of treatment in the form of sedimentation and screening. Behind me you can see where we screen the bigger stuff like the sticks, the stones and debris. Then we come down to the sediment where we separate the sand from the stones. And then this water will leave from St. Thomas and pipe into Kingston via pipeline into the Mona Reservoir.
The Mona Reservoir is the island's largest raw water storage facility and provides the liquid to over 30% of people living in Kingston and St. Andrew. If this is where you get your water, here is where the next step in the treatment process occurs.
Here in the reservoir, we allow for maximum levels of mixing, maximum levels of aeration, as can be done here at the facility. We also, at the reservoir, you allow for settling out of the silt and the suspended particles, dirt particles, that would otherwise be in the raw water. We then take the water from the reservoir and take it to the Mona treatment plant.
At the treatment plant, chemicals are added to further purify the water. Chlorine is first added to kill bacteria.
You have stages that include flocculation, where we actually add chemicals to the water that allow those microscopic dirt particles that are still in the water to be brought together in what we call flux, and then we are able to skim it off and remove it from the water.
The water is then passed through filters which contain layers of sand, gravel, charcoal or synthetic materials that remove remaining small particles. The final stage is disinfection. Here, chlorine is added to kill any other bacteria or germ.
Ensuring that we have what we refer to as chlorine residual that goes with the water, so that as the water travels along the pipeline to our customers, should it come in contact with any germs along the way, there is enough chlorine residual in that water to destroy those germs and still be delivered to the customer in good quality.
The water is tested all throughout the treatment process to ensure that what you get in your pipe meets World Health Organization standards.
For several years running, the National Water Commission has won the best tasting water in the Caribbean. We have also been acknowledged by the various arms of the United Nations at different points in time as having one of the best quality water in the hemisphere.
That is definitely something we can drink to.
A healthy and economically friendly alternative could be planting your own food supplies. But the reality is that not all of us readily have access to fertile or any kind of land to begin with. That's where our government comes in. Here's how the state is ensuring lands are viable for production.
To provide jobs for persons, it lets me feel like, I'm really contributing to the economy of the country. It's just a good feeling, and to produce the quality products, to compete with the international market, and to produce goods that actually look much better than imported goods is a good feeling for me.
Agro Investment Corporation continues to scout for lands in Jamaica that are best suited for agricultural production through the National Land Agency and the Commission of Lands, and also with private enterprises. So wherever there is unused government lands or private lands, Agro Investment Corporation will profile these lands.
So by now, we should all be aware of the benefits of leasing lands from the government. But once you've leased the land, how do you maximize returns? Well, knowing the soil type is important. For instance, did you know that over in the Ebony Park Spring Plain Agro Park, the soil type impacts the kinds of crops that can be planted there?
Ebony Park Agro Park is about 1,100 acres, and likewise the Spring Plain, and that's roughly all the lands within there. There are areas of non-arable areas, but there are arable areas. Arable areas amount on the Ebony Park side to about 800 acres. There's a lot of different soil types, predominantly Bonegate, clay loam. Basically anything can grow here. Once it requires a pH of about 6.5 to about 7. There are pockets where the pH might fall to about 5.5, 5.8. So if there's a crop that needs to be having a lower pH, soil could be amended to facilitate that. But basically anything will grow.
So let's revisit our checklist. We've applied and submitted all the necessary documentations, including proof of our capacity to invest in the land. We've learned about soil types and pH balances in the soil. What's next after you've been approved?
They would assign you a plot number, or they'd give you a designated area to where you'd be assigned. I guess you'd view it to see maybe what you'd need to do If it needs a bit of clearing, you might want to look at that, how you go about doing that. You'll be advised as to the best way to get that done. You might want to go to the NIC because our water is pressurized, and so the NIC supplies it. So a part of your contract would give you the ability to go to NIC with tenure of land, and then they would then come and put your meter on so that you get ready supply for water. We also offer tractor services to plow, harrow, farrow, and other activities that you might want, rotovate and so on, for your lands. So we'll be able to do that. Once you do that, we could tell you of maybe different cycles, crop cycles, where you might want to plant, best time for certain crop. You might be able to go out of these seasons, but at least we'll be able to tell you that this crop does well in a particular season. The risk might be higher in another season, but so might be the returns. So you could get advice as to that. So local advice will be there ready for you.
Meet Henry Givens, a youth farmer who is a beneficiary of this initiative. He started out acquiring just 5 acres of land, and today he is up to 15. Givens plants various crops at different stages, including Scotch bonnet pepper, sweet potato, and Maruga red watermelons, as well as slicing and plummy tomatoes.
Leasing land from the government, it is actually beneficial, and at the point where I would actually want to lease more if available. You know, I am not employed otherwise, so it allows me to take care of my 2 babies, and it allows me to eat and survive. So it is something very beneficial, I would say. Life here at Ebony Park, it's twofold. It's good sometimes and sometimes it's challenging. One, persons around, some persons, they know what to do with their crops, for example, and they don't want to do it. So sometimes, we have a lot of pest and disease outbreak, and some persons just don't want to invest the funds or do what is right to actually, make the agro park much better and a much cleaner environment. And then, also, sometimes there's a major issue with the whole irrigation system. It costs a lot sometimes, because even if you look into the pepper field, sun scalding is a result of a lack of water supply sometimes. But it's a blessing, and there is not only negative, because once you have irrigation, then without the irrigation, I couldn't do anything like this, none at all.
Farming can be an expensive venture, but it's also beneficial. As a youth farmer, the challenges may not even be financial.
Some older persons, because they're so, relatively young, they don't want to work with you because they said they don't want to work with a younger person. However, sometimes it's good to know that, for some persons that really can't afford to go into the farming as deep, that you can provide them with not only a job, but you can also assist them with technical advice to improve their smaller production that they do as well. My advice to younger farmers or investors is that they should not be discouraged or swayed from agriculture. It is something that can be beneficial, and it is a good way to make a good foundation for themselves and their families. So it's something that they should look into and be strong about it. That's the only way we can build our country.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
A lot of us are living in ways that prompt poor eating habits. But if that's you, struggling to improve your health through your diet, then avoiding these 4 unhealthy habits can help you significantly. Here goes. Number 1, stop skipping breakfast. Time and time again, studies show that eating breakfast offers a lot of health benefits. A well-balanced breakfast provides you with the energy you need to get through your daily activities. Number 2, eating close to bedtime is a no-no. Many nutrition experts associate eating late at night with weight gain. Certain foods can also have a negative effect on your body and your sleeping pattern. It's advised that you do not eat anything 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Number 3. Drinking too much water actually dilutes the digestive acids in your stomach. It's recommended that after you eat, you wait for at least 30 minutes before drinking any beverage, or simply drink water before meals. And number 4, emotional eating may not be such a good thing. Try asking yourself this: why am I eating even if I'm not hungry? Should I just drink a glass of water until my next meal? Can I put down my food and just reflect on my emotional state for 5 minutes? These questions can help you determine if you are eating because of hunger or for emotional reasons. By avoiding emotional eating, you can make better food choices and live an overall healthier lifestyle. Healthy people create a healthy nation, and this directly impacts our Vision 2030 goals. Remember, we're all working to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
That's about all the time we have today to feed your desire for knowledge and please your palates with a range of pertinent information. But just in case that crave isn't quite satisfied yet, look out for us tomorrow at the same time and also catch past episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also keep up with the JIS by visiting our website and follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. From all of us here, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.